how to live in the moment and stop worrying. As someone in the past who struggled so much to be present and not worry about the past or the future, I plan to show you in this video how to live in the moment, how to stop worrying, and what happens to your life when you do each of these, because it's not easy. But when you are present, it truly becomes a superpower. So I plan to show you by the end of this video, and I promise you will understand these things by the end of this video. With that being said, my name's Chris Richardson. I'm a coach here at Life on Your Terms, and I make these videos to help pass on my knowledge, pass on my experience, so you can learn quicker than I ever did. So the first piece is how to actually live in the moment. That's always our ideal. It's always our goal, but actually doing it can be pretty challenging. I know from experience, personally, it's been very hard for me in the past to not think about what's going to happen in the next few hours or what happened in the past few hours or the past few weeks. And so I really worked on developing how to live in the moment. And so the first piece of living in the moment is mindfulness. Maybe you've heard this term, but mindfulness is truly living in the moment. And the way I become mindful is I like to go sit outside and I like to do an object scan, as I call it. I like to look around at my surroundings and I only allow myself to think about the things that are around me. So for example, if I was to do an object scan right now of what's behind me, I'd be like looking at my TV and maybe I'd think about how grateful I am for being able to have electricity and have that TV. Or maybe I look at my fan, I just observe the fan and notice things I never have. Or I look at that picture wall back there and think about good memories and look at how happy I was in those times. Not to say I'm not happy right now, but just looking at those and reminiscing on those things. And try to really keep your thinking to present-minded things. What you'll find is that it's actually really difficult. If you set a timer for 5 minutes and only allow yourself to think about the things within your present environment and what they are doing, you'll actually probably have a really difficult time. At least I did in the past. But what it helped me do is it helped me develop the skill of being mindful and being present, which has helped me in so many other areas. So an object scan is one type of mindfulness you can do. Another type that's more instantaneous is the body scan. You can think of the object scan as something that you do in preparation to be present and to be mindful. But the body scan is something that you can do within the moment to snap yourself back into it. In the body scan, what I like to do is I like to think about from my feet up how all of my body feels. What are the sensations my feet are feeling on the ground they're standing on or their shoes they're in? What are my legs feeling? Are they cold? Are they hot? What is my torso feeling? Stuff like that. What is my head feeling? All those things going throughout the body scan can really bring you back to the present moment if you are noticing yourself straying. So that's one thing, is mindfulness, to live in the moment. On top of mindfulness, breathing is another thing you can really do to do a present thing where you've noticed yourself not being present, not being mindful, but you want to bring yourself back. Breathing is a really good tool for this. So I like to use the square breathing technique, which is 4 seconds in, 4 second hold, 4 second exhale, and another 4 second hold. That is my favorite breathing technique, and it really helps me focus on the moment. And I like to use this one maybe if my heart is racing for whatever reason, I have a job interview, a tense situation. I like to use this technique to really help calm my heart rate. I like to use it just kind of subtly in conversation. If I notice that I'm not paying attention, I'm really like, okay, let's focus on my breathing, Chris, so I can bring myself back and really give the attention that this person deserves. So the square breathing technique is really good for those two things. Another breathing technique you can use to really calm yourself down is the 4-7-8. Now I like to use this when I'm going to sleep or when I'm sitting down, because this one's kind of hard to use when you're even walking around because you really have to lock in. So it's a 4 second inhale, a 4 second hold, and an 8 second exhale. So it's a little bit difficult to do, but it really calms yourself down and you'll find yourself really present. On top of breathing, another thing you can do that I've done in the past is breath work. I've never felt so relaxed in my life after doing breath work. So you can look into breath work. There's a lot of different areas you can do. I'm not an expert in that area, but it was really helpful for me. So breathing is another way to tap into that presence, another way to tap in, live in the moment. Now, on top of breathing, one thing that I really like is an ice bath. An ice bath, I guarantee you, will make you present because that water is so cold that you can't focus on anything else. So I like to do ice baths twice a week, and every time before I get in the ice bath, I'm always super present. I can guarantee you that. So it's kind of working on my skill of being present. On top of ice bath, I like to pair the square breathing technique with that to lower my heart rate. And I promise you, when I'm in that ice bath for those 4 minutes, there's nothing else I'm thinking about other than how cold I am. So, and focus on my breathing and bring my heart rate down. So ice bath is another way you can really help. And another way to live in the moment is actually working on your skill of focus. So what I mean by this is, let's say you're working and you notice that you're getting on your phone, you're going into other tabs on your computer, whatever it may be. Focus is actually, I think, the function of being present, and focus is a skill that you can improve. So when I am working, I always try to improve my output per minute or output per hour. I'm always thinking about how can I be more focused? How can I absorb more of this information and be better at what I'm doing? So focus is another way to live in the moment. The second piece is actually how to stop worrying. Now, this is not going to eliminate all worries, but I will tell you I've had quite the transformation from worrying about almost everything to worrying about just really the important stuff, which is just an indication of how important it is to me. So I don't think worrying in general is bad, but when you're doing it all the time, it can be bad and can be actually harmful to your life. So with worrying, some hacks you can use is actually set time limits for worrying. Let's say you made a decision and you're so worried about that, or you're just worried about a job interview and you haven't heard the results back. Just set a time limit. Set yourself 10 minutes where you're gonna think about only that situation and just worry about it. But after that 10 minutes is up, you're done worrying about it because there's actually nothing you can do about it. With worrying, what I found, I like to think about, you know what, why am I even spending energy on this? Because I probably can't do anything about it. And if I can do anything about it, there's no reason to worry about it. I might as well be doing the thing I can do about it. So set time limits for worrying. And in those time limits, you may realize that there's nothing you can do, but it also allows yourself to healthily work through those things, work through that worry, and kind of eliminate it. Now, on top of setting time limits to stop worrying, you also should challenge negative thoughts. Maybe you have a little bit of a pessimistic brain and you need to rewire that brain where you think about, let's say your partner is out for a night with their friends or whatever. You're just thinking in the back of your head like, oh, what are they doing? You get really worried about it. I know personally, if I'm being candid, that was something I used to worry about years ago. And what I realized is I just need to challenge those negative thoughts. Number one, how likely is that? Number two, what is the worst that can happen? Number three, can I do anything about it? And number four, will it even matter? If you can just kind of recite those questions to yourself when you're challenging those negative thoughts, especially of will it matter and what is the worst that could happen, you'll find that you're able to work through those negative thoughts and can almost rewire your brain. So I'd encourage you to challenge your negative thoughts when you're worrying. On top of that, engage in something when you are worrying. If you find yourself worrying, head to the gym. If you find yourself worrying, maybe open a book. Find an activity that you can do that healthily moves you forward in life, but helps you engage and gets rid of that worry. Because sometimes I think worrying is just a function for us to fill our minds with something while we're not doing anything. So if we can engage with something that can help kind of lower that worry. Sometimes for me, it's just playing video games. I get really lost in video games. It's my time to myself, and I get lost in it. I don't have to worry about any other things. So those are the things to stop worrying. And you really want to set time limits for worrying. You want to challenge your negative thoughts. Ask yourself those questions. Rewind if you need. And on top of, engage when you are worrying. The third and the final piece to this video is what happens to your life when you do these things. When you make these meaningful changes, what does it mean for you? Well, the first thing is you're going to get that greater focus and clarity. And that's kind of a catch-22 because you kind of have to work on your focus to be more mindful and present, but it truly will give you greater focus and clarity. If you can really work on the breathing, you can really work on the mindfulness, your focus is going to be up here and you're going to outcompete everyone in what you are doing professionally, whatever. Because when you're able to focus and zone in, I truly believe being present is a superpower. I often find myself just sitting on that couch over there doing nothing, and thoughts come to my head about posts, about video ideas, about problems that I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I was so present here, I'm able to think about these things and then apply them within my life that really help me focus and give me some clarity that I think that I wouldn't have had if I wasn't as present and as mindful. So you're gonna get that greater focus and clarity, not only in a professional sense, but honestly in terms of relationships as well. When we're not able to be focused and present for our relationships, we're not giving them the focus they deserve, but we're not getting as much out of them as we would if we were present and focused. So if you're able to be present and mindful, you're gonna have better communication, better relationships overall. And maybe you're wondering about that. That's where I encourage you to use the balance wheel in the description below, because there it's gonna lay out your professional, your relationships, your health, and your resources. And then you can find some areas that you wanna be more present within. So on top of your greater focus and clarity, what else is it gonna do for your life? It's gonna reduce your anxiety and stress. Because when you worry, at least when I worried a lot, it would create a lot of anxiety and it would create a lot of stress for me about something that I really can't fix. So it's actually very frustrating too. But when you're able to kind of eliminate that worry, to live in the moment, to stop worrying, you're gonna live a better life. Because our time is finite here, and you're gonna enjoy more of your time. You're also gonna feel less anxiety and stress because you're not worrying about the things that maybe don't matter or you can't really do anything about anyways. When you're focused, when you're present, you can work on the things that matter, you can give time to the things that matter, and you can truly live your life. With that being said, if you like this video, please comment number one. That's the most important thing, because then I know what videos you guys like so I can make more of them. On top of commenting, if y'all like and subscribe, it's kind of like the icing on the cake for me. I know what's being liked, what is impactful. And on top of that, take that balance in the description below if you're struggling with these things, because that can lay out and help your focus and help you be mindful of your life.